All right.
I didn't go by. You want me to do that again?
No, I mean, that actually seems like it's perfect fit for the whole podcast.
Where's the E40 impersonation?
Oh, the E40? Okay, are you ready for this?
Yes.
All right. I'm not going to be saying words because E40, like, sometimes it doesn't sound like he's saying a lot of words, so it goes, zippity dabbity doobity. Like, he goes like that.
I wasn't expecting that to be so jazzy. You made that.
I know, did I? So
It's like E40 at the Jazz Cafe.
I know he has that. I don't know how he raps like that, but I just remember hearing him. I'm like, what is it? Tell me when to go. It's like E40 in the Bay talking about like.
Welcome to the Not All Here podcast.
Welcome to episode 19 of the Not All Here podcast.
Yes.
It's your boy Easy L. We also got
JRB, the producer.
Okay, and we also have a very special guest in this episode. We've been planning this episode for what seems like forever, but then we're finally able to do it. You know, I think for the most part, you know her, you love her. It's the one and only Cidnee Rich.
Hey, oh my God, that was the most amazing intro ever.
That's probably that's my favorite intro of everything.
Truly appreciate it. I hope people know me. They may not know me, so if you don't, hi, I'm Cidnee.
Exactly, and Cidnee's me and Cidnee, we go way back.
Legit.
Oh my God, like if everybody remembers, like A3C, and
Yes.
just like
What once was.
what's one was RIP. Even though it's
Still here, but
it's still going on, but it's not really what it once was.
Okay.
You know?
Right.
So, but Cidnee, if you could like give for those people who don't know, which I think it's very few, who don't know who you are, what you do, can you give the audience, the listeners, basically a little, short little info about you?
Totally. And honestly, I really don't feel like that many people know me. And if they do, like, cool, I guess. But yeah. Most people, if you do know me, is probably from A3C, which I was the events events manager for, I don't know, a long time, 2016 to 2019 with A3C. So that was long for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I, got to book artists, talked to all the venues, did all that stuff, and it was amazing. And that's how I know the most of the people that I do know is from that world, which was like, oh my God, I can't even. And I got into A3C because of Wiz Khalifa, but that's a whole nother story. But anyways, yeah, so I do events production, and I'm also a tarot reader, which I launched that business last year during this awesome pandemic that we're in. So yeah, that's something that I've done for a while, but no one knew. And I decided that was probably a good idea to bring that skill out so I could live.
No, definitely. It's funny. And I feel like I remember when you first started doing it and I was like, oh, okay, this is dope. And then now I can definitely see growth, happening. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm proud. I'm like, I'm so happy to see you, growing and everything. Can you, how did you get into that? What led you to get into like tarot reading and, doing things like that?
Yeah. So when I grew up, classic Southern Christian Black family, but my siblings, I'm one of 6. And I'm the youngest. So all of my siblings are very different. Mm-hmm. So it was never anything to be different in my family, thankfully. And so, yes, my dad still goes to church every Sunday and everything like that. But spiritually, I got to a place when I was in my early 20s, finishing Georgia State, where I was like, I don't know what I believe because I just went to school, right? Mm-hmm. And I got educated and it opened my eyes. And so I went through this whole questioning of my belief system and realizing oh, I grew up this way, so I'm thinking this, but I don't feel that. And so it was kind of like me. So starting there is when I just started exploring things. Mm-hmm. And honestly, tarot was just something that anything witchy and mystic and all that has been interesting to me since I was little. Like Halloween is my favorite. Mm. So it's always been something that I've been interested in and thought was cool and, But from there, yeah, I just went to Barnes and Nobles one day and I'm going to buy tarot cards. And I bought these tarot cards, and from there, I got a pretty cool, well, it's not cool, it was pretty crazy, reading for the first time. My first pull was pretty intense. So And it was right. So from there, I was like, well, that was interesting.
And then you kind of just was like, oh, let me follow this, see where this goes.
Yeah, so I would just use tarot cards with myself all the time. I would just practice by myself because, it's weird, right? And I don't want to be like, hey, guys, and like, to others, it's weird, right? It's perceived that way. So I would just practice, and then I realized, okay, let me practice on my friends. Because, if you're my friends, you're the homies. You're not going to, you're not going to think I'm weird.
Yeah.
So all my friends have known because I've been like, can I practice? Can I do a reading for you? And then I used to take them to work. I worked at MAC Cosmetics. I've done a lot of random shit. But yeah, I was a makeup artist before A3C World. But anyways, I worked at MAC, but I was in the stock room. And I would bring my cards, and on break, my coworkers would be like, "Go, you read for me?" And I'm like, "Yeah." So I do want to tell this story. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So I read for my coworker, and she was asking me about a really serious subject, her father, right? Like she hadn't met him before. She wanted to. That was what her question was about.
Yeah.
I did her reading. And it basically, like, the energy I was picking up on was like, I see some type of meeting happening. Left it at that, whatever. When I tell y'all, like, I don't know, 3 to 5 months later, she literally updates me, and she met her birth dad.
Wow.
Like, and I'm like, what? And she's like, yeah, now we have a relationship and like all of this.
Yeah.
And when that happened, I was like, yo, that's wild.
Yeah.
Like, that changed somebody's life.
Exactly.
And so from there, I was like, And so I got a little bit more comfortable with it. And so I've been doing it, but just not publicly until last year.
Wow. That's super wild. And that's like really crazy that one that she met her biologist because she didn't have no contact before.
No.
Damn. See, it's interesting too because on another side, so my girl does human design, and
we love her.
All of this is very foreign to me, and Jetty can atone for this. Like I'm very like calculated. I'm like, all right, I got to do this. I need numbers. I need proof. I need this. Da 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 da. Right. So it's very interesting. This I guess you would call it mystical. That's mystical stuff to me. Just how it all worked. Because to me, I'm very logical. And so I'm like, no, that ain't going to happen.
Right. Yeah. It's the opposite of logic.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of, I think maybe that's why sometimes I didn't understand certain people like in church would be like, you got to have faith in this. I'm like, well, I mean, I got faith, but there's something behind it that has to happen, putting in the work.
Well, right. And I don't want to say it's the opposite of logic. I think it's the shadow of logic. Because if you really think about it, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Because you're going into this energetic space that we all know exists because we all have technology and we all see the sun go up and come down. We see all these things happening. So we know it exists. It's just that it's in such a way that, it's hard to imagine or hard to understand, but it's there. We see it.
Yeah.
We live on Earth. Like we live on a planet. Like science is part of all of that. Like, you know what I mean? In a way. So it is kind of like the shadow of logic.
Yeah.
Because I love science.
Yeah.
Like science. Are you kidding me? Like science is where it's at. Yeah. And it always has been for me. So I think this, like the mystical, esoteric world, is just the other side of that.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Like the heart side.
Gotcha. It makes sense.
Instead of the brain. Oh my God.
It's like
that was a jewel.
If you've seen, it's like if you've seen the show. It's like the Wanda to the Vision.
Yes. Oh my God.
I haven't seen it, so don't spoil it.
Oh,
it's okay.
You gotta.
Okay. Yeah,
You'll love it.
It's a really good show because both of them. One of them is very logical. He's a computer, and then the other girl, she's very spiritual.
Well, Marvel. Okay.
Yeah, I've seen the movies.
Oh,
Okay.
so yeah, so
haven't seen the
basically.
show.
Oh, okay. Show's really good, but basically, that's how.
Okay, so me, I know literally nothing about tarot, right? So it's like a set of cards, and then so these cards, they're like images, but they have different meanings when they're paired with different things. Like, how does it work?
So yeah, that's pretty good. So they are each card. So there's 78 cards, and they're broken down into the major arcana and the minor arcana. So the major arcana, I like to categorize that as like the seasons. So you can think of that energy as like the seasons. So it lasts longer. And then the minor arcana, I like to categorize that as like the weather. So it like, it changes, and it's also affected by the seasons.
Yeah.
Right? So each card does have a meaning. It's split up into, so the major is like what the typical cards people think of. So the Lovers or the Devil or the Death card that everyone's like, those are the major arcana cards. So those all have a meaning. And then you have your minor, and those are broken into like our 4 emotions. So, well, 4 emotions, not emotions, 4, okay, let me just explain them. So you have elements, 4 elements is what I meant to say.
Okay.
You have fire, which is like your passion and your career and your spirit.
Okay.
And then you have the cups, which is like water. So that's like your emotions, your creativity, your intuition. Then you have the pentacles, which is like ground and earth energy. And so there you have like practicality, manifesting. That would be that energy. And then the swords is your mental. So how you think, your thoughts, communication, logic. So that's how it's broken up. So then those cards, each of those cards in that little world has their own meaning.
Okay. So, all right. So, again, apologize if I sound stupid with my questions.
No, not at all.
So, say like you do a tarot card reading. Is the reading based on who I am kind of as a person, or is it based on like questions like, hey, I feel a certain way about next week, or the thing about the father, like, hey, there's this thing with my father. How does that work? Is it like I ask you a question, or is it just more basic than that?
No, you can. So that's a great question. You can ask a question, so I can pick up the energy of your question and like what you're wanting from that. It can just be general. So I can just pick up on the energy that you are giving off to me, or like what you're feeling, what you're experiencing, basically. So you can focus it, or it can be general. But essentially, I'm reading the energy of either you or how you feel about this thing, or the energy around what it is you're asking. Like, that's what I'm picking up on, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Makes sense.
So, again, maybe these questions are stupid, right?
They're not.
But when I think of cards, I think of like poker, like a deck of playing cards, right?
Yes.
And so with cards, like you kind of have to shuffle them. If you don't, do you have to shuffle tarot cards?
Yes.
So, okay, so what happens if you don't? Is there such a thing as like a bad reading? Like you just...
Okay, good question. So a deck of cards, I can actually do a reading with a regular deck of cards as well. It just won't have the major arcana, but I can do a minor arcana reading with playing cards. But anyways, because it still corresponds. But I'm sorry. You asked me.
Oh, I said, is there such a
The
thing
shuffling.
as like a bad reading? Like,
Right.
Say I don't know how you get them, but say you got them straight out the pack and then you just,
Right. So when you get them straight out the pack, you have to kind of like do your thing to them. So you want to go ahead and like cleanse them, put your energy into it, because you're getting these manufactured cards, and my intuition, my energy is what allows them to work.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like, I need to like infuse my energy with it initially. So with that, I look at every card, and then I will shuffle them all up and mix them all up. And so every time you do a reading, you do shuffle. And so typically when you're shuffling, that's kind of like, you can think of it as like you're organizing, your energy is organizing the cards.
Okay.
To pick, it's like you're using your energy along with their energy, and you're using that as you're shuffling. So that's the divination part. It's like, because I just know when to stop. So when I stop and I pull them, the reading is what you're supposed to get.
Gotcha.
So it may resonate. So when you say bad reading, I don't give bad readings because there is no bad.
Gotcha.
There's no bad, there's no good, there's just is, you know what I mean? So it's just like, it's giving you information. So you can do with it as you please because you have free will.
Exactly.
So that's why, like, when they're like, say, tarot readers, like fortune tellers, no, I'm not telling your fortune. I'm reading the energy, and depending on how you act or the other person acts or the world acts, it may change. But right now, this is what I'm seeing. This is how I'm reading and picking up the energy. So you can't get a bad reading. I don't think so.
You get what you get.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I was more, my brain was just thinking about playing cards more because if we were playing poker, you wouldn't want to just pass out the cards without
Yeah,
shuffling. So
exactly.
I was thinking more along those lines.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
you do want to shuffle. I wouldn't just pick it up and just, because then it's not your energy and my energy commingling, you know?
Okay.
So I need to get that going, so.
You need to get some clean juju in there. Because you don't want anybody else's juju. It's like, no, let me refresh it. You know, you just want it.
Right,
Like that.
and that's why some people are like, most people, you don't touch a tarot reader's like cards.
Oh, okay.
Unless they let you.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like that would be like, hey.
So do you do readings for yourself?
It's hard for me to do readings for myself
Why is
because I'm biased. You know what I mean?
So everything you see is like, oh, this is great, this is good.
No, it's like I'm my ego, my brain is getting in the way because I kind of know what I want. And so if I'm pulling, it's not clear. It's giving me like a mixed message because my ego's getting in the way of what's naturally going to happen.
Yeah.
So it's easier for someone else to read for me. I will pull cards for myself, but I still get readings from other readers.
That makes sense because it has to be kind of like objective. It has to-
Exactly.
so, yeah. Because you think you're
I get
like,
it.
I'm going to try to make it go this way.
I had
you know?
this weird thought just popped in my head. Like if I read tarot cards, I'd be like, how's my day going to go today? Oh, this going to be a crappy day.
Yeah, and then or you'd be like, you know what? I don't like this card. Let's put this back in. Let's go with something else. And
The death card. Oh,
Which is just about transition.
let me call my mom first and
yeah, oh my God.
tell her I love her.
Oh my God. Jesus. So hold on. So Jetty, you never had a reading before?
No.
It's so interesting because I know I've had several. You've given me a reading before. I think
had
once or
several?
twice. Yeah, I remember. Well, it's funny. Okay, so this had nothing to do with tarot, but I remember before I moved to Atlanta, I actually back home in Arkansas. There was this one place I would always see. It was like it had nothing to do with tarot. It was like psychic.
Right.
Whatever, you know, and they look at the palm of your hand type of stuff. And I remember I went in there and like this woman gave me a reading and she was just like, I was like, I don't know if this is real or not or whatever. But she was like, you want to be in business. And I was like, I don't. She's like, that's probably for something else. But then later on, I remember getting a reading from you a few times. And I was like, I actually like it because it is kind of cool. Just the whole, what is it, like the atmosphere of it. And I feel kind of special because I still remember, I think the first reading you gave me and like just you shuffling the cards. I was like, ooh, this is for me. This is me. And so it was very interesting. And so I like, even though part of me is like, well, you know, I don't know what to do with this information. I'm just going to go on about my day. It's still the interaction and the, how do I put it? The reading itself is fun.
Yeah,
So
that makes sense. The experience.
yeah, thank you. Yeah,
That's
the
why
experience is
my
fun.
website is Experience Arcana.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. But yeah, that's so.
Because it started as a parlor game. Like, that's what it started as.
Oh.
And, like, that's how it got popular, I should say. Because, of course, it did, like, the origins go back to, like, Africa. And, but the cards that we know them to be started as a parlor game in, like, France.
Oh.
In, like, the 1700s. And the Romani people, which that is not a nice way to call them, but that's like the Romani, the gypsies, I mean, is the nice word, but that's the Romani people.
Gotcha.
They were the ones that were like the readers. And so the rich people would hire them to like do readings at parties.
Gotcha.
And so then from there, these other like sections kind of branched off. But then the classic deck that everyone uses came out in like the 1900s. And the illustrator is actually a Black woman named Pixie, which is pretty cool.
Wow.
Yeah, so
That's dope.
it started as like a game, so it was an experience. It was a fun thing. But then someone came along and ascribed like the meanings to the cards. And so that's when it kind of turned into more of like a divination tool.
Okay. That's really dope. It's it's so funny because I really like this podcast already because I feel like I'm opening doors for Jetty to experience new things because on the previous episode, my girlfriend, she's a human design reader.
Yes.
She did like I don't know if it's like a 15-second like little summarization, not into depth, but it's so funny. He's like, oh, I'm like this. Okay. He was like, I am pretty smart.
Yes.
This is a whole something else, but it's so much fun. So, but
No,
anyway.
I know. I got my human design by P, and it was very cool.
Whoa.
Yeah, it gave me a lot of information. It made so much sense. I was like, oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
I pull it up all the time to like refresh because I didn't know what it was until P. I had no idea. I'd never heard of it before.
Yeah.
So it was like totally blew my brain open, right?
Yeah.
So I can only imagine with Jetty.
Yeah.
Things are happening.
I'm still lost out there in the clouds.
I'd be the same way.
I'm trying to find my way.
Because like there'll be certain things about me and like my human design, or even the tarots where you're like I remember you doing a reading, you're like something like this might happen, and I'm like, all right, I mean I guess, and then I just go on about my day. Versus like human design, like I'll get a constant. It's like she'll be. She's like that's in your chart, and I'm like okay, but what that got to do with me? Because it doesn't like I don't know how to connect with it.
Everything.
Yeah, exactly, and I'm just like. I guess I am who I am, or
Yeah.
whatever.
Okay, weird question. Maybe not weird. People that are really religious, when it comes to tarot or human design or just things of that nature, is this something they kind of look down on, or is this something they kind of gravitate to? Because I honestly don't know.
That's a good question. It's kind of twofold. So one, you have the people that are like, that's demonic, you're worshiping the devil, like all of that dramatic nonsense because of like society's misconceptions. Just like a lot of things are misconceived. So for example, if you guys have seen Princess and the Frog, the Disney movie.
Oh yeah.
The scary man that takes her soul and switches it is the tarot reader.
Oh.
So it's like you're like pushing that, mindset. In actuality, if you really, like I said, on the other side of it, people that are religious, they actually can understand it as a divination tool because it is mentioned in the Bible. A lot of divination, mystic things are mentioned in the Bible. It's just that they're not highlighted. And so people don't kind of equate the two things, but it's this, if you read the Bible, it's full of wonder and magic and like miracles, like, you know what I mean? So it's really one and the same. It's just that we have been programmed and socialized and institutionalized into thinking that they're different. So if you have someone that's like my friend has a podcast about grief, and she is very like a devout Christian, right? But we're like super close friends. So she had me on an episode about spirituality versus religion. And, we talked about that. And at the end of the day, we're saying the same exact thing.
Just in a different way.
Yeah, we're just using different characters, but at the core, it's the same thing. So, yeah, you have the people that are ignorant, just like with anything, and they think that you're doing something wrong or it's something scary or whatever. But if you really think about it, I'm connecting to God, like, period. So, like, that's what I'm doing. So it's who you are also when it comes to any of that stuff. You know what I mean? You're using your intuition. So how I am is going to affect my readings or how people connect with me or don't. So that's at it too. Because of course you have people that, there's other sides of things. There's light, there's dark, but that doesn't mean it's dark or like it's just different. And anyways, besides that, like I'm coming from light always, you know? So
I like everything that you're saying. Even like you're very active with your hands. You're like intuition. I was like, you just put a spell on everybody.
I'm trying to learn ASL. Okay.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay, so you were
I'm
there.
trying. I feel like I should.
I mean, I tried to learn it in college. It didn't work for me, but But anyway, that's super dope though. And real quick, where can people, if they want to book a session with you, a reading, or just follow you on social media, where can they follow you so that way they stay up to date?
So you can follow my personal page at Cidnee CIDNEE _Rich, and for readings you can follow at arcana.atl, and all of my links are there. If you're in the city, you can come and see me at Ode to Wonder and get a live reading. So yeah, but all my links are on the Instagram.
Dope. That's super dope. Look, with speaking on all of this, it wants me to ask like a question. Has there ever been a reading that you got or that you gave? I know you told me about the girl that she met the biological father. Was there another one that was like crazy or like, oh, something wild happened?
I mean, to be honest with you, a lot.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and to be honest, some of the okay, so one last year I did a reading for my really close friend, and I saw like a pregnancy and a new job, and
Whoa.
she got a new job and she is having her baby next month.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's super wild, because that's crazy. So then let me ask you this. So then you were like, yep, this is going to happen. And you're like, something like this. Was it somewhere in the area where you like right on the dot of like, you're going to have a baby and you about to get a new job?
Basically I saw a new job and a baby.
Oh boy. Wow. That's wild.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, there's a couple of those stories. So, I get confirmations a lot, weddings, engagements, new jobs, houses.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty cool if I think about it. So yeah.
That's super dope. That's hella dope. So yeah, so y'all like book a session, book a reading. Right? That's the reading?
Yeah.
Okay. Book a reading with Cidnee, because like it's super dope. She's an amazing person, and yeah, I mean she's talented and just wildly gifted. Excuse me.
Appreciate it, Elle.
Of course.
So kind.
Of course, I do what I can.
Ditto.
Exactly. By the way, Pisces, Leo, Virgo.
Yes.
You're a fish.
But we're both born in August.
Oh, I'm a lion. You're a...
I'm a
Ram?
virgin.
Oh, wow.
It's kind of odd, or like I'm like a helper. That's what I am. I'm a helper, like a fairy, but an earth. Yeah, kind of like a fairy.
Got it.
Yeah.
Fairy. That's so interesting. Okay.
A fairy angel.
So it was nice, learning about Cidnee and all the magic. And I'm doing this with my hands like I have a little orb or something. But, here at the Not Out Here podcast, we have a few segments that we basically just, that's our thing. And the one that we're going to go ahead and start with is news from Jetty. I
just realized that all of my news is really negative today.
Oh boy.
Classic.
Moon is in whatever. No, I'm joking.
The moon is in darkness.
Oh boy, Dark Side of the Moon, Pink Floyd. All right.
Reporter robbed of camera at gunpoint while filming a piece about robberies.
That's hilarious.
Oh God, the irony.
It's the kind of cruel irony you would see from a scene in a movie, like you just said. This was in San Francisco's Twin Peaks neighborhood. Since certain roads were closed off due to the pandemic. I've never heard that before. Roads being closed off due to the pandemic. But what happened, these roads were previously led to tourist attractions. But the local thieves now have created like this little area where they just rob people on these roads.
Wow.
That's crazy. That's like the Wild West.
Yeah, I know.
The news people went to go do a story on this and got robbed while doing the story.
That actually brings up thing. I was listening to a podcast, Joe Rogan podcast, about this guy who's really into like drugs, but like understanding them and what they do and the chemical and basically, how they can be good for people. He was talking about, he was living in New York, and he was saying it's gotten so bad on the pandemic because everybody stays at home and they order from Amazon that robbers now have figured out when Amazon delivery trucks get there.
Oh shit!
And what they'll do is, like, he said that one night, I think it was like late, that somebody was delivering stuff, and sure enough, as soon as they delivered, like 5 minutes later, they picked it up and took off like a whole apartment complex's like packages.
Wow.
It's like super, super wild.
It's like the 2021 Fast and the Furious. Instead of them robbing the trucks.
It's funny how the pandemic is changing things, because I don't even have this in the news segment, but I read this earlier. There are 300,000 less babies than there should be right now because of the pandemic.
Oh, okay.
Like the rate that people are being born is actually lowering because everyone's staying inside and you're meeting less new people, and like.
That makes sense.
And they say when the pandemic goes away, there's going to be like a boom of
another baby boom.
Another baby boom.
Oh no!
Everyone was thinking this was the baby boom, but to your point, people aren't meeting people.
I mean,
that makes sense.
You might be there with your wife or your girlfriend, but I guess the rate is just.
Would you say that because there's probably more people who are. How do I say this without offending anybody? More people are single and like back before the pandemic and mingling versus people in families, if that makes sense, trying to start a family. Yep. So then now, I guess, because you really can't do that, people are just like, well, I'm just at the crib chilling.
Yeah, chilling.
So makes sense. That's wild though.
This news is so negative. I'm sorry, guys. Drunk driver crashes into car of drunk driving friend who he was coming to rescue.
Wow.
Oh my.
There's more to the story, but that's pretty much the story. So
if you want to go in depth, that's crazy. But I don't even know what to say though.
If your friend is drunk and they need help, but you're drunk, don't go help them. Find a non-drunk person.
Take an Uber or a
Definitely.
Lyft. Be safe.
All right, more negative news. I'm sorry, guys. Baltimore student passes 3 classes in 4 years, but ranks near the top half of the class with a .13 GPA.
Wow. Bad education system.
This school is not doing too well.
That is horrendous.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, I had more details on that one, but my phone, I thought I had more details.
That scares me.
Yeah,
That's concerning.
It's not good there. He's doing well by only passing 3 classes compared to his classmates.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Damn. Okay.
More bad news.
More bad news.
More bad news.
Cat attacks pilot, forcing plane to make emergency landing.
Wow.
I love this story. Okay, it's not totally clear how the cat managed to infiltrate the flight.
Yeah.
Not infiltrate.
A mid-air catastrophe unfolded when a stowaway cat attacked the pilot, forcing him to make an emergency landing. The Qatar-bound flight was forced to return to Sudan after the cat made a surprise appearance in the cockpit and began to attack the pilot and crew. The cat was noticed by the cockpit crew about half an hour after takeoff.
Wow.
The cat attacked the pilot and resisted all efforts to be captured.
Wow.
That cat wanted to die.
Or take down everybody.
Out of all the people in the airplane, you attack the pilot?
How does he know to go for the pilot?
Right. That's why I'm like, I feel like that was a mission that some person was like.
They trained the cat for years to develop the skill set.
Or it was like a person that was a cat.
Oh my God, basically.
Wow.
That's why it's funny to say the words that you're reading sound hilarious. They're like the cat infiltrated the plane.
I promise.
Surprise
He
appearance.
resisted all.
He was like, no.
I promise this is a real thing that really happened.
That's hilarious.
Okay, this news isn't negative.
Okay.
Woman finds whale vomit worth thousands of dollars while walking on beach. The whale vomit looks like a big piece of bread. It looks weird.
Ew.
Who knew it looked like that?
Oh yeah, because they use that in perfumes, don't they?
It's worth thousands of dollars.
They use
That's what perfume is made out of.
perfume of
I'm sorry.
Whale vomit, in case anyone didn't know. And
Yeah.
apparently you can just walk on the beach and see it and just find it. And that lump is worth thousands of dollars.
Interesting.
Like how did she sell it? Like how do you sell that?
She actually hasn't sold it yet.
Oh, okay.
She's in the process of selling it right now, and they're coming to verify that it is legit. But she found it and she was like, "Man, this smells.
This smells vomity. Like this smells.
Nice. What is this? This big smelly rock on the.
It smells like that new Dolce and Gabbana. Oh my god.
So weird. I did not know that.
All
That's
right.
hilarious.
Moving on. Chipotle partners with cosmetic brand ELF for a burrito and guacamole inspired makeup line.
Elf.
Wow. Is that what it's called?
Eyes, lips, and face.
Oh yeah, of course.
I was like Elf the movie or something like that. But.
The limited edition collection includes Chipotle eyeshadow palette, Make It Hot lip gloss, and extra guac face sponge set, which comes in an avocado shape.
Wow.
That's very interesting. The marketing there, I think it's clever, but I don't know. I think makeup artists, if you're like a makeup artist, you might like that. But I find that really weird.
That is weird. I mean, maybe they're just trying to brand. What if they?
If it looks cool, though, I would buy it. If it looks cool, like the avocado, whatever.
Here's what they do. You buy it, and then you put it on, and then when you go to the store in
Oh my
line, they
God.
give you a discount.
Oh my.
You're like, I'm wearing...
Oh, my God. I think that'd be good. Cross promotion.
Cross promoting. Yeah. Oh, makes perfect sense. That's
and those are the only things that happened in the world last week. Also, there was a stimulus that happened.
Oh,
yeah,
we can
the
actually talk
COVID
about
relief
that.
bill.
Good transition. That's called. I forgot what it's called. Never mind. Segway. Thank you. That's what it was. Not the thing that you jump on and you ride, but the thing that transitions anyway. So yeah. So speaking of stimulus, I know, Cidnee, you are into politics. Like
I am,
Like
and I know
wild.
it's a
it's a love hate thing.
yeah, and I know it's a subject that people, it's
They're
very
like,
polarizing. I know, but I really do. I wish I would have done political science minor in college.
Okay, I have a question. Is Biden doing well so far or not well?
Governing is difficult, as they say, and it is. I think he's doing the best he can, but there's a lot of fucking bullshit in his way because of how the government is set up. It's set up fucking nonsense. Like,
Right.
it's so crazy. And so us as like citizens, we don't really understand it. So all we know is we don't have our checks yet.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And so that is problematic. So I think he's doing,
He's doing
but
something.
he's making things happen that we weren't getting made happen.
Right.
So I'll give him some time. We'll see. We'll take an assessment. But honestly, it's going to be hard because of the filibuster. So
I just asked you that because I saw a bunch of people just shitting on Biden today.
course.
And I didn't do a whole lot of research on why they were saying that.
Yeah.
But
there's some things that didn't come to fruition, but it's because of like the politics, the process, all of that shit that no one understands. So
Yeah.
it's just easy to say like, oh, you didn't do this.
right.
But it wasn't him. It was the people around him, the Congress, that didn't allow him to do it. So
Gotcha. It makes sense. Yeah, politics is a whole nother thing, and it's a lot to take in and understand, and also to like break down because there's so much that goes on.
yeah.
Because they so the House passed the bill.
The Senate.
The Senate, sorry. Now it goes to the
House one more time for whatever reason.
and then he has to sign it.
Yep.
Okay, so
Then it's a law.
then it's a law. Thank you. And so yeah, people were saying supposedly if everything goes smooth, which I don't know how often that happens, that mid-March everybody should be seeing like their checks and stuff. So it's
Yeah.
a really wild time. But it like
Checks, vaccines. There's all kinds of stuff in this COVID relief bill. It's
Oh,
not
yeah,
just
yeah,
a
yeah.
stimulus check. It's
Exactly.
a lot of things to help us for recovery economically. So
makes sense. I think I think my girl was telling me supposedly they're trying to bring back. Speaking of bringing the economy back and getting things somewhat back to what people consider normal, where we can be out and about. They're trying to bring back concerts towards the end of summer or something like
really?
that. Yeah. So, but I know that I think it was Ticketmaster or somebody else. One of the people that does the tickets were like, of course, if you want to go to the show, you got to show that you got a COVID test and it came back negative. Yeah. And so
they may do vaccines.
Oh, for real?
I wouldn't see why they wouldn't.
Yeah.
Because you want people to get vaccinated
Yeah, of course.
and people want to go to concerts.
Yeah. It's really wild speaking on that because, of course, what Texas just did with like they're like, hey, we're opening it back to 100%. And was it the governor or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Am I tripping, or do I feel like Atlanta's open 100%?
I feel like
It
it's
is.
open.
That's what I was trying to say. We have been open.
Yeah, they've been open. And it's like really wild. What was it? I think I was driving around here somewhere. No, because the day that we're recording this is All Star Weekend for the NBA, and it's here in Atlanta. And like looking on Twitter, and then just like when you're out and about, like everything's jumping.
Yes.
I'm not gonna say the location, but or maybe I could. But there was this club. Was it last night? Where they had like a carnival in the parking lot. Did y'all see this?
No.
It was a strip club in Atlanta, and they had like this giant ride outside where you could just do that and then go into the strip club. And then I saw the stories. It was insanely packed, and it was wild.
Was in the stories that you saw were people wearing masks?
No.
No, not in the club.
I mean,
man.
that's well, see, that's what I was telling the homie. I was like, I know it seems bad because we've been open, but psychologically we're gonna be better off than a lot of the other states because we've just been open.
Gotcha. So
you know what I
like,
mean? So like we are already doing what we're gonna be doing.
Exactly.
You know, it's just that more people will get comfortable and be out, and it'll be safer because people will start being vaccinated. But it's not gonna have to be like a shock and awe like Texas or California.
Oh, okay. It's kind of like, have you ever had that moment? Because you remember when this all started or whatever, and then I guess Atlanta, like you said, it's always been open. I had those weird moments where you'd be wearing a mask, but there'd be a place you go to where a lot of people weren't wearing masks, and you like, am I crazy?
Yeah.
Am I wild? It's really wild.
No, I know.
Well, we'll see what happens, and like I said, this year should be interesting. I think it'll be interesting.
I think so too. My fingers are crossed because I have good vibes. Once we get these vaccines, we'll be good, y'all.
I feel like half of the country isn't going to take it.
I don't know about that. I don't know about, maybe I would say, I don't think half of it. I think what's going to happen is maybe like a smaller percentage, which is still a lot of people.
I think they said it, the last poll that I heard about, I think it was 70-30.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
30 not taking it?
Right.
Yeah. It's funny. A comedian said it best. They were like, this comedian was saying, it wasn't a joke. He was just like, making light of the situation. He's like, everybody, you should take the vaccine. He's like, but now I'm talking to you who say you're not going to take it, and you're hoping that everybody else will take it so that way you'll still be fine. You'll be like, I didn't catch it type of thing, or whatever. But
yeah, because that's how we get to herd immunity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, yo, it's still recording, right?
Yeah, it's still going.
It turned from red to blue.
No, I know. It's because if you go, it just stopped scrolling again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's still going.
But yeah, man. I killed the momentum.
I was like, I got a point. I'm going somewhere with this. It's going to happen. Blah, blah, blah. No, it's okay. Okay, well.
My bad.
No, you good. That was news/topical things. I actually wanted to talk. Oh, actually, I have something that I do want to talk to y'all about. It just popped in my head like everything does. Have you guys heard of these NFTs? Do you know what they are?
No.
I know I've talked to you about it.
Only because you told me, but I have seen everyone talking about it on Twitter lately. Okay. It's the new thing.
Cidnee, let me put you on.
Okay.
So, basically, I still don't understand this, and it kind of, I had existential crisis talking about it at one point. Well, basically how it works is, so you have cryptocurrencies, right? Like Bitcoin. There's this thing called Ethereum. I think it's another type of coin.
Right. I remember you guys talking about it.
Yeah, and so basically what happened is artists, they started digitizing their art, and so people could only own it digitally.
Okay.
And then basically what happens is, I'm probably sounding really dumb explaining this, but what happens is artists can be like, hey, I'm only going to make 10 of these. They're going to be digitized, and the way to buy them is using that cryptocurrency. And so you can't own it physically. It's always going to be digital. So the only way that you would own it is if like you had one of those digital frames, and it could be like a screensaver or just like a photo on the wall, kind of like how here in this place. But it's just digital, but you can never really touch it. And so
can you print it off?
No.
Okay.
You just own it digitally. That's all it is.
Okay.
It has like this little signature through the currency that is basically like, hey, this is your official art. and it's one of 1 or 1 of 10 or however many the artist decides to make.
Kind of like songs have a little code embedded
Basically,
in them.
a codex in it, yeah. And so basically, it's crazy because it, like, when it first happened, I was like, what the fuck is an NFT? What is this shit? I don't understand it. And artists have been getting, like, rich off of this stuff. And it's crazy because I actually, I know one, and she just sold, like, a, I call it a loop. It's just like a thing that never ends, just like an endless loop. And she sold it for, like, $15,000 worth.
Animation?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like a photo that she's added stuff that animates in it, and then it just constantly goes over and over and over.
Right.
And she sold it for $15,000. Another person that actually is like the most famous, I think dude's name is Beeple or something like Beeple. He sold something for 6 figures.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so, but to me, I remember I was talking to my girl about this because I was like, I don't understand this. Why is this valuable? And like, I know I talked to Jetty about this because I was like, yo, you should get in on this. Because like I thought about getting on it, but I was like, this doesn't make sense to me because I guess I'm a type of person that I want to physically be able to touch something versus like, yep, there it is on the TV or whatever.
Well, I mean, in the future, though.
And you know what? I think you just saying that scared the hell out of me because I was like, oh, no. Because I had this weird like thing happen to me where I was like, I don't understand this. And have you ever had a moment where you're like, this is me getting left behind?
Oh, I see.
You know?
Oh, of course.
And so, yeah. And I had that happen and I was like, do I want to live in this future?
No, I understand. Well, I mean, I was thinking of it like Harry Potter when they have like the moving pictures. So like it could just be like, I don't know, maybe one day we might have like digital museums or something.
True. Which is like so interesting that you say that because I think I realized in all of this, I was like, I prefer that the art physically be there. You know what I mean?
I was reading an article that was trying to explain it, and they made some kind of interesting points because even with this kind of coinciding with pandemic and people being inside more, you're on your phone more, you're on your computer more, and maybe you value the things on your phone maybe more than maybe something sitting in your living room.
No, exactly.
You spend so much time on your phone. And also this even compares to not necessarily video games, but in a way, like people spend money on like digital avatars.
Yeah.
There's little games and you can buy something and boom, it'll make my avatar look like this. And boom, it's like a little digital collection. So this is kind of a different, more artistic version of that. Like I can pay for this and I'm the only person that can actually pull this up.
Exactly.
So I guess the value is dependent on if you think it's actually a valuable thing. If you're willing to spend money on it, you know what I mean?
No, exactly.
The interesting part will be if this is a fad or if this is something that actually sticks around for a while. So.
Yeah.
I've seen artists who started doing this. Some people feel like it's a fad, but then some people are like, no, this is here to stay. Right. Kind of like, the same way that some people thought Bitcoin was like, this is only here for the moment. We're always going to care about this physical money, paper, blah, blah, blah. And then, I mean, now look at it. It's skyrocketed.
Exactly.
I wish I would have cared about Bitcoin.
It's funny. I don't even remember the day or the time that I actually knew about Bitcoin. I actually knew nothing. And so until like recently.
Really?
I always heard about it, but I was just like,
I heard about it years ago and bought $20 worth and then just never looked at it.
Well, at least you bought some.
I did, but I bought it late. If I would have bought it years earlier, that would, But,
exactly.
Whatever.
Same thing with Dogecoin. Oh boy, there's a history with Dogecoin.
I know people that are like really getting money off of this cryptocurrency. I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
So maybe get on that. What is it? NFT?
NFT. Yeah. I think the way that it works though is some people are against it because in order to get the thing that what is it called, signatures, the print, it hurts the environment a little bit.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, because of something to the effect of like they have to mine it and it takes out power. So because the same way Bitcoin has to get mined in order to get it. Do you know what I'm saying?
No, I do not.
So computers run and they mine Bitcoin. So through this program or whatever. And there's Bitcoin farms, different farms for different cryptocurrencies, and it takes up a lot of power.
What are you talking about?
You know what I'm talking about, don't you?
He's making up
Oh
stuff.
my God. No. So there's like this. So people invest money. Okay. All right. I'm going to sound real dumb because I'm not good at explaining this. So I'll use Bitcoin. When Bitcoin was created by whoever created, I forgot the person's name. They said, hey, there's only so much. There's only, I think, a few 100 million, I think, of it out there. And there can never be any more created.
Okay, but what is it?
The what? The Bitcoin?
Yeah.
It's a digital thing.
So what do you mean mine it?
So mining it, boy. And so it's like mining it. Think of how mining is out here when people had
Like
back in the day.
mining coal?
Yeah, basically, but they do it digitally. That's the only way you can get more of it before it runs out.
But where are you mining it?
On a computer.
So how is it hurting the environment? Because it's emitting a lot of energy?
Energy and things like that.
Okay.
The environment part is because it takes a massive amount of electricity. They have to set up all these servers.
Yeah.
So that's the only part that hurts the environment is all those servers.
Yeah.
But honestly, I don't really understand it either when it comes to the mining part, because if it's created and it's there, how do I get more of it from somewhere?
Right.
I don't get that.
That's what
I'm
I
with you
don't
on that part.
understand.
Yeah, I don't understand either.
I've tried to look it up. And
The way I think about it is that the way that they mined coal back in the day, there's a specific way you have to do it through programs. You just can't create it.
Kind of makes me feel like you're going into another realm and getting it.
Yeah.
And so you can only go there so many times.
No, yeah, exactly. And so that's how, that's why some people are against it, because of like how much power it requires to run these things or whatever overnight, because some people leave them on like nonstop. There's even a case I remember, I think it was in Europe or something, where somebody had this big computer and they used it as a heater for their house because it gets so hot.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and basically, but it kept their house warm when they needed it.
That can't be safe.
Yeah, I know. And so, but it's a very interesting thing. This, like I said, this is it feels very futuristic. And so the NFT thing, I don't, like, to be honest, I don't even know. A part of me kind of is like, well, I guess, we just got to wait and see this digital stuff. I might do it, but I think some of the sites, you have to pay a little bit in order to put your art in there because it costs money to create it. So anyway, that was a long conversation about NFTs, but anyway.
Yeah, it was interesting. That's why I like listening. You guys always teach me something.
Oh, well, that's very kind of you. All right. Well, my brain feels scrambled from talking about all this stuff that I don't even understand about to this day. But we're at that point in the show, hey, everybody, where we talk about our Not All Here moment, because we have our special guest, Cidnee Rich, the one, the only, the tarot reader, the amazing, fantastic Cidnee. We're going to go out on your Not All Here moment. Do you have one?
Okay, so I just had one on the way over here.
Oh, boy.
So I hope this counts as one. I'm still trying to put my finger on the moment. Mm-hmm. But so I went to go pick up some weed, all right?
Okay.
And
ganja.
I was like, hey, can you roll a joint for me? I'll pay you extra. Because I was on my way over here and I didn't have time. So she was like, yeah, cool. Of course, I have a female weed attendant. And so
that's on her resume.
Yes,
Female weed
her
attendant. Gotcha.
And so, so I pull up, go in, chop it up for a second. And then I'm like, cool. I'm going to drive over here. I can smoke on the way over here. Word. So then I'm like, oh, I need a lighter. So then I'm like looking. No lighter, of course. So I'm like, fuck. But then I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go to the gas station.
Okay, yeah.
Because there's like a million from here to here. Kirkwood to here. There's like a million gas stations. So I pull into the gas station and I'm like, yeah, I just need a lighter. So he tries to give me like a pink lighter. Sexist. So he like pulls it out, whatever. And then I'm looking and I'm like, ooh, they have like the Zodiac lighters.
Oh.
So I'm like, oh, I lost my Virgo one that I had. I never finished it. And usually I keep up with my lighters. So I'm like, oh, it's perfect. So I'm like, oh, let me get the Virgo one. So cool, pay.
Yeah.
Get in the car. Turn out of the gas station. Ready to light my joint.
Okay.
Pull out my lighter. It's here, guys. And this is what's happening.
Oh.
It's completely fucking empty.
Wow.
And not only is it empty, it's already been used. Like, for real.
Man, is that rust?
Like, is that rust?
That is, wow. What the hell?
And it was in the front. It was a lighter in the front of the little set.
Wow.
And I'm like, you've got to be fucking kidding me.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was my not all here moment. I was like, no fucking way.
Damn.
So
I wonder if that's like a lighter that they just use. They're like, yeah, just put it on the front. Nobody's going to grab that one.
He did try to give you the pink one.
he did. And then I
did.
felt bad after I went through all of that in my brain.
God. He was
And I
trying to
was
help
like,
you.
I know.
Damn. And he's like, all right, her loss. No.
Exactly. And then I'm like, did he? And then I really started getting weird. And I was like, is this the lighter I lost?
Oh, the universe is trying to give it back to you.
Yeah. So then I went there, but that's what happened. I had another one, but that was the one that happened on the way over here. So
Wow, that's hilarious. That's also funny. The universe is like, nah, not right now.
Right.
You got to make it to that destination sober. That's hilarious. That's a good not out here moment. That's a good one. But okay, well, that's the end of the podcast, of the Not Out Here podcast. Once again, we want to thank Cidnee Rich here, and for, of course, bringing her great energy. And just, if you want to book a session, can you tell them where to do that again and follow you on social media?
yes, thank you guys for having me. I really enjoy the pod. You guys really crack me up. I'm always walking the dog and laughing, like, for real. I'm sure people are like, what is going on over there? But you can follow me at arcana.atl to book a reading from me.
Dope. And any Instagram to follow you on, or?
Just my personal one is at Cidnee, CIDNEE_Rich.
Okay, dope. Well, then we appreciate y'all for tuning in, man. Also, make sure to follow the podcast on Instagram, the Not All Here podcast, right? Not All Here podcast?
Not All Here podcast.
Thank you. Follow our personal pages. It's Easy L, the group page, Cool Ass People, Jetty.
Follow me at JRB the producer. Also, follow your dreams.
That's like his signature out now. Also, if you would, please, if you're listening on Spotify, make sure to follow us on Spotify. If you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts or wherever you are, make sure you subscribe to us, give us a review. It helps us really get out to more listeners. And that way we can bring you more episodes of this dope show. But other than that, we want to thank y'all for listening, and we will catch you on the next one. Yo.
Sayonara.